It's Kim, the Kiwi Health Detective, root cause and lifestyle medicine practitioner. And today I want to talk about a higher order of medicine, a better way. So what do I mean by this? Well, have you noticed that the current medical system seems to be collapsing? And really I'm talking about the medical system in the Western world. So we're talking UK, USA, New Zealand, Australia, maybe some other first world countries as well. But the system is really breaking down. And a lot of people are scrabbling around trying to save it. But what if it's not meant to be saved? What if it's actually time for a major overhaul of what medicine really is? And this is what I personally believe is happening and what needs to happen. And I know that many of my colleagues think the same thing as well. And there are many of us who have been working on the sidelines for decades now, bringing in a new type of healthcare. But the problem is, because the prevailing current healthcare system has been entrenched and set up so many decades ago, it is very strong in the psyche of the population. So what do I mean by that? Now, the current healthcare system, which is really the medication approach to healthcare, the big pharma approach, really started around the late 1800s, early 1900s. So it has been developing and being embedded into the consciousness of the population for many decades, which means our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, this is what they grew up with and what they thought was the right way to approach how to heal and what they believed was the right way to do healing. But is it actually? Well, when you do your research, which I have done, and you look into how the medical system and the big pharma system were set up in the late 1800s and early 1900s, then you actually start to understand things from a different perspective. And you get to see that actually before that system was set in place, what we were using for healing ourselves was much more natural. So, for example, there were many, many homeopaths around, and it was normal to go to a homeopath, and there were homeopathic universities, but they all got wiped out when Big Pharma started to set itself up. But that's another story, which I'm not going to go into today. What I want to focus on today is, why is it that we actually need a different kind of healthcare system, and why is it that it's good that the current system is breaking down? And therefore, maybe it's not about trying to save the healthcare system as it stands and how it has been. Maybe it's time to embrace and be open to something new and something different and something better. So let me ask you a question. How much do you believe that your body has the ability to heal itself without external intervention? Now, that external intervention could be medication, it could be surgery, it could be natural supplements, it could be going to see some practitioner of some sort, maybe an acupuncturist, an osteopath, a physio, or one of the many hundreds of different natural healthcare practitioners that there are around the world. So we have many styles of medicine, from the pharmaceutical model to the natural model. But the question is, how much do you believe and trust that your body has the ability to self-heal? And usually I would say that most people would answer, no, I don't completely trust that my body can heal itself without external intervention. And I'm not saying that sometimes we don't need external intervention. Obviously, sometimes we do. But because of this big pharma model, which has become stronger and stronger and stronger since the 1900s, we have got to a point now where people have completely lost touch with the natural healing abilities of their body. And even more importantly, they have lost touch with the belief and the trust that their body can actually heal itself in many instances. And this is very sad because it's not true. But people have come to believe that they need something or someone to fix them. And even more than that, because of this big pharma model and all the training in the medical schools, which focuses on diagnosing an illness, which basically means giving a label to a group of symptoms and then give some sort of medication or maybe some surgery to resolve those symptoms without asking why they're there in the first place, without really looking at, well, why has the body created this illness? Which really demonstrates how disconnected we have come or become from our bodies. We are so disconnected and people don't realize it. And so through this programming, which has been going on for decades, people, and I was one of these people in my 20s until I had a major shift of consciousness in my late 20s and started to see things very differently, we often just think that if we have symptoms, there is no reason to question why we have them. We just need to go to the doctor and be told what we need to do to resolve them by taking some medication or having a surgery. But most people don't even think to ask the question, what has actually caused this illness? Do I have some part to play in why this illness has come upon me? Without blame, without beating ourselves up, without feeling bad, but asking the question, have I played some part in why I'm sick? A lot of people do not even think about this. But this is really what we have to start to do if we want to take more responsibility for our health and learn how to heal ourselves. And many people will also see symptoms as a bad thing. They will see them as their enemy. And it's a very common phrase for people to say something like, I just want to get rid of my symptoms. And of course we want to get rid of our symptoms. They're uncomfortable, they're unpleasant, they can be debilitating. But most people will just say, I just want to get rid of my symptoms. I just want to take something that will either mask the symptoms or get rid of them without asking why they're there in the first place and without understanding that actually those symptoms are incredibly intelligent and they have a purpose and they have a meaning and they have a message. And our job is to decipher the meaning and the message. And usually the body is trying to get a message through to us that it wants us to change in some way. But of course, this is going to take effort, and a lot of people don't want to put in that effort. It's much easier to take a pill, but the problem is when we take a pill, it's not actually addressing the cause, it's just addressing the end result. So we're not actually really healing the problem. And I remember many years ago, one of my trainers saying, the body is far too intelligent to make mistakes. And that phrase really caught my attention when I heard it. And another trainer used to say, symptoms are intelligent and necessary communication from the body to the head. So we need our symptoms. Our body is not creating them randomly. It's creating symptoms for a purpose because it's trying to alert us to something. And we need to pay attention to that. And when we do start paying attention and investigating and asking, well, why do I have the symptoms? What is the deeper meaning? Then we start to understand things from a much deeper level, and then we can take the right action to start resolving those symptoms. And that may be changing some of our lifestyle habits. It may be dealing with old trauma. It may be dealing with emotions. It may be dealing with other people. It could be a number of things, but the point is the body doesn't create symptoms randomly, and there's usually a message and a meaning. and it's our job to decipher what that is and to take the right action to resolve things. So this brings me back to what I talked about right at the start, that the healthcare system seems to be breaking down. And maybe this isn't a bad thing. Maybe it's because it's time for something new. And if we look at the history of human life, of humanity, the only constant is change. And things always break down to make way for the new. But for some reason, there is a lot of resistance in allowing a new and better healthcare system to come into life. Now, another thing that I've noticed is that despite the fact that we know that most medications are toxic, they don't actually resolve the problem, they may be a temporary fix, they may be masking symptoms, but they're not actually dealing with the root cause. And despite the fact that we know now that a lot of vaccinations, which we've been told for decades are safe, have absolutely definitively been proven to be very unsafe and cause major harm. And despite the fact that many doctors are now stepping outside the system because they're seeing the corruption and the deception and the wool that had been pulled over their eyes for decades that they had no idea about and the public had no idea about. Despite all of this, what I find quite fascinating is that people are still looking to doctors to create a new healthcare system or a better healthcare system. And this, I feel, is quite erroneous. And what it shows and demonstrates is the power of this conditioning that has gone on now for about 150 years, that the doctor knows best, that the doctor is king. And I am absolutely not putting doctors down here. I'm just trying to demonstrate and show the immense power of the conditioning that we have been under for decades and have come to put doctors on a pedestal and believe that only they know what is good for our health, or they know best what is good for our health. Now, having personally tried and tested over 250 different natural therapies, I can absolutely say that there are many, many other options for dealing with one's health beyond just going to a doctor. And we need to start putting natural health care on the same level as doctor health care. Because for 150 years now, natural health has been sidelined and maligned and put down and seen as lesser than mainstream medical care. And this again is in the psyche of the population. And this is one of the things that we have to change if we want to create a better healthcare system. We have to value and respect natural healthcare approaches, which were what were the norm before this big pharma model came into play. We have to change this programmed conditioning that the doctors know more than natural healthcare practitioners. We have to see them as equal. And this can be quite hard for a lot of doctors because they have been so programmed to believe that the doctor is king. And we even have this title, Dr. So-and-so. And when somebody has this title of doctor in front of their name, somehow it elevates them above other people. So we have to stop this. We have to stop putting doctors above other people and thinking that doctors know more than other types of natural health care practitioners. And my personal viewpoint is that we need to come to work together. We need to work together as peers and equals because we all have something to contribute. We all have something of value. So in order to create this better healthcare system of the future, we're going to have to do things differently. Doctors and natural healthcare practitioners are going to have to be on an even keel, and egos have to be let go of. And doctors need to understand what natural healthcare can offer, and natural healthcare practitioners need to understand what doctors can offer. Bearing in mind, however, that we do still need to change this paradigm of only dealing with the end result and really dealing with the root cause. Now, when we do start looking at the root cause and doing proper root cause analysis and teaching people lifestyle medicine, where the medicine is their lifestyle and the client or patient learns how to take greater responsibility for their own healthcare in a preventative manner, as well as taking steps to help themselves heal when they're sick. As we start to do this, hospitals will either start emptying or their purpose will change. No longer will people be going to hospital simply to get fixed by medication or surgery. They will be going to hospital to be educated in how to heal themselves. This is medicine of the future. This is the hospitals of the future, where people go to classes to learn lifestyle medicine, to learn how to decipher what their symptoms are telling them and how to self-reverse their symptoms without having to rely on external interventions. This is the healthcare of the future. So, yes, our healthcare system is collapsing. It is breaking down because it's absolutely time for something better to be put in its place. And the good news is there are thousands of healthcare practitioners out there in the world who are ready to contribute and are already contributing to the building of this new healthcare system. And what we really need is for more of the general public to understand what it's going to take to build this new healthcare system, and for the medical system, the doctor system, to come on board with this as well. And then we will really start to make headway. So these are just a few thoughts to ponder on. As you can see, it is a topic that I'm very passionate about because I know it works. I've been doing this system now of natural health care, of self-healing, of teaching people how to heal chronic illness that has not responded to medication and the mainstream medical route. I have been doing this now for 25 years. I've done it long enough now to absolutely know that it works, to trust that the body has incredible abilities to self-heal, and to not have to rely on external interventions nearly as much as what we've been brought to believe that we need to rely on. There is a different way, there is a better way. And my hope is that more and more people come to understand there is a different way, and there's going to be re-education needed, both for the medical profession as well as the public. People have to learn how to do it, just like they learn how to cook. We have to learn how to do it. And so re-education is going to be a big part of this new healthcare system. So this is Kim Knight, the Kiwi Health Detective, root cause and lifestyle medicine practitioner.